All right, it's 4:15, and we'll call the Financial Management Committee to order, and we'll ask Commissioner Tony Smith to lead us in prayer.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, I thank thee for another wonderful day. Lord, bless this group of people as we're here tonight. Conduct the business for our county where it's equal and fair for every individual. Lord, bless our troops that are fighting for our rights, freedom, our current way of life. Lord, help the people that are sick and need your guidance. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that. All right, and we're all present and accounted for tonight. So the first item is approval of the minutes from the March 26th meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, and public comment. Did anybody slip in I didn't get to see that wanted to speak on any of the topics on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, we're moving on. New business, solid waste. Okay, we've got a report though, right?
We do.
Okay. Y'all comfortable moving on? All right. HR, I believe she had a conflict, but her report should have been in our packet. All right. Our archives.
Wait, let me go back.
Oh.
Let me go back to solid waste.
Okay.
You know, we talked about cameras for, I think it was El Bethel, Tollgate, and Unionville. But I just wanted to make sure that it's an ongoing project that Normandy and Fortrace and so forth will eventually. Okay.
Stay standing, my lady. We're waiting on you.
I just wanted to make that clear that,
We'll be moving 3 more probably next year than 2.
okay,
Like we want to start it with 6 days a week. That's what give you that with the cameras to get.
perfect. Thank you, sir.
All right. And we're okay with moving past HR, right?
Yes.
Nobody had a question? All right. So now we're up to archive.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
A lot of breath. We had some Californians come in just, into the fort.
Really?
Wanted to know something about where their folks had lived here. This is the first time we've had one said, well, what would my ancestors have grown for crops? And we were able to find them a trust deed where it told how many cows they had, how many bushels they had of acreage, and most significantly, how many cedar logs they were selling to Musgrave.
Wow.
And so that really impressed them. They had no idea about our pencil background. So, 1920s. So yeah, I mean, those are the kind of neat when they say, well, what did they do? And it's like, well, we could look at a couple of different things. So that's the kind of thing we've been doing for the last month or so, and what we are doing. We're continuing with the modern records and working with those, of course. We've had 3 special projects. We helped with all those tours for the Historical Society, their anniversary year. And we just got our policy and procedures draft back from the MTSU folks, and I'm kind of excited about that. Several things I didn't think about and several things they didn't include. So it's a give and take on their learning part as well as mine. Our other thing that we were really excited to be able to do this last month was we participated with the MTSU folks on helping clean Union Ridge Cemetery. It's called the Davidson Union Ridge, way up there on the county line. And it was a really good opportunity to help the public, help the community up there with a real historic cemetery that actually has more real recent graves in it than I ever realized. It had really suffered from all the ice and storms we've had in the last 2 or 3 years. So that was just a tip in the bucket of the work that they need to do in that community on that cemetery. One other thing, just this last week, Catherine Hopkins, my coworker, went to the the Tennessee State Library and Archives program, and she is a certified archivist manager. So that's a wonderful opportunity that they provide to help you in an in-between process. And I'm excited she was able to finish that up and get that certificate. Those are the basics. Any other questions for me? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. All right, up next is architect And while the owner rep's coming up, he may have something to say, but I think about Dr. Gary, is there anything particular architect wise you want to say? And then you'll backfill with anything that he's going to talk about. Most of these projects are yours right now, so.
You may hold that up for you. I'm gonna be.
Put it in front of your face. That's
I think it's
great.
upside down.
So, I'll start with this, so Scott doesn't have to hold it very long. We have finished the design phase of the juvenile detention. As we were working toward, we have lowered the square footage to 8,250 heated square feet from 10,000. We were able to get windows in all the juvenile rooms, which was a requirement from the state. Mark Anderson from the state has reviewed the plans and said they meet all the minimum guidelines. So we are going to have detailed design drawings next month. We hope to have construction drawings in June. Contractor will bid in July and hopefully start construction in August once the commission and the finance committee approves the funding for it.
Now, on that group, we've been on this journey before I was ever the mayor. And this group has evolved that we're the specialists in this area. So the people, Linda, I know has been on this.
Director Kelly Smith, Judge
Kelly.
Rich.
Right. And you and Kelly and
Even-
Julie Wells.
And even going back to Cynthia West.
Right.
Correct.
So this thing is finally.
I think we got about 5 years in it, don't we, Linda?
Absolutely.
So our goal is to build it out by the new jail and a judicial center, along with the surplus building next to it. Cut down on cost and do shared services. Cartwright Elementary, we are about 97% complete. We finished the playground yesterday. We've done our first and second walkthroughs on the first and second level. In the gym, we will do admin, cafeteria tomorrow. They will have 10 days to complete their punch out. We will do our final walkthrough the first week of May. And we ask if you go out there, please give myself or Hank Becker 48 hours notice. We have a lot of people doing punch out and paint, cleaning floors, putting in door locks, hooking up cameras. But we're at about 95% completion. So the last 5% is all the detail work. And Christy Williams has done a great job working with the contractor, and Bells has done a great job. Our staff from the county has done a great job. Sam and Daniel have been involved at all the walkthroughs, asking the questions that need to be asked from their side for future maintenance. All the gravel is in and finished for the parking lot. We had testing done yesterday and today. We hope to start putting asphalt down in the next 2 weeks.
Here, what say you? You good on that end with progress and
Everything. Appreciate the work he's done. Line swing, bail construction, it's great. We're very excited. Product.
So the good news is we did our last finance meeting with Bells 2 weeks ago, and we are going to get another $290,000 back in savings against debt. So that brings Bedford County's portion to $1,790,000 in savings. And we were able to negotiate final savings of $250,000 to Bells. So if we had stayed with the original contract, that would have put our savings at close to $2 million. They would have gotten about $600,000 would have been their portion if we stayed with the original agreement. So it's been a very good relationship to work through, not only construction, but savings to the county and taxpayers, and to get a great school. I would say this is one of the prettiest schools in Middle Tennessee, but very functional, and the cost have worked out really well. We haven't run into any major issues.
I've gotten to speak with the bail team in general. Of course, we had experience with them over the Jail and Justice Center when they managed that for us when I was taking office and didn't know anything. I don't know too much more about it now, but they really highlighted the fact that the communication and having somebody on site that understands. create a lot of efficiencies that end up saving you money as opposed to chasing what to do with issues as the project proceeds along. And so again, kudos to everybody that's been engaged from the beginning, but having a resource that's a local resource that knows how to get the light pole moved in 24 hours versus, what was it, 3 weeks, a month, they've been, whatever it was. Those things all matter because it all lines up with your subcontractors and people coming in and do the work and all that. So they had nothing but positive things to say. They look forward to having the opportunity to compete for business in Bedford. They really appreciate how we've laid our structure out to manage projects going forward. That speaks well of everybody in the room with the fact that we have finally gotten ourselves in a model that is going to make us attractive, and we're seeing more people actually bid on projects, right?
You know, just even the emergency management building that we're doing at the ambulance service, the bids for that, we're probably gonna have 15 bids. We had 12 contractors show up for the pre-con at Thomas and Liberty. So the word's getting out, you know, that we expect perfection as much as you can get perfection when you have 600 people working on a school. But the detail has been very good. Our initial walkthrough was about 4.5 hours. Our second walkthrough was 2.5 hours. I don't expect our final walkthrough to be hardly anything. But you know, just everybody working together. It's been a joy to work with Bales and Clark Klein and Ron Constantino and Jacob. And when we've had questions, we've responded within 24 hours, and that's kept everything moving systematically through the process.
And again, we're hearing from the contractors and people, they need to be able to get in a project and get out of a project. So having these efficiencies and these resources that you can put your hands on in short order allows them to be more efficient because they line up other work. So again, I think
Right.
that lends itself to why we're seeing more people bidding projects in Bedford, understanding that we've got a system now that they can be competitive and they can get in and get out and be done with their part of the project and hopefully get paid. All right.
We'll pay them if
Absolutely.
they do the work.
That's
Linda, did you have something?
You want me to ask about,
whatever. Yes.
Jeff, on the soil conservation project, that's 25,000, it's later over what mayor's gonna do. But does that include enough room, not just for the office space, but for the storage area too, so they can get rid of that building or whatever it is at back behind?
Which building are you asking about?
We're talking about where they were asking for the office add-on.
Yeah, that's full office space and a storage area.
Okay, good.
Not a standalone, but
Yeah.
where they can store material.
And could then be eventually moved into something else
Right.
if we had. It's growth room.
And it's not a 8x8 box.
Thank you. That's,
Okay.
okay,
Mhm.
okay.
They're not having to climb over the desk like Kelly does. Okay, Cascade High School floor, we have a meeting Friday with all the contractors for their final walkthrough and questions. Todd Bobo has done a great job on that. The high school concessions, Dr. Garrett has given us a budget to work off of, so we've started that process of designing that. Then we have a multitude of items we're working on with Klein Sweeney. They're going to be here Friday all day going through projects under design and evaluating cost. Thomas Elementary has been given to OLG Construction. We moved all the portables to the new location during spring break, which we were asked to do, and we met that timeline. We are hooking up the fire emergency system this week. Prep work has started on all the utilities. Duck River was amazing to work with on that project. They had people out there at 6 o'clock the night before hooking services up to make that happen. We had an original budget of 7.6 million all in for the two projects. We're going to be at 6.2 million. So that's $1.5 million less than what we originally projected. Ag projects, we're working on the specs and design right now for bids. We've closed on the option property. The shovel annex addition is complete. We are working on the kitchen. The kitchen will be having tile put down next week. Lori Sexton was able to work with one of the manufacturers and got all of the tile donated, which we thought we were going to have to do a year from now. So we were able to get that, and we got a very low bid on installation to help us out with one of my contacts. So they're coming in and doing the tile work for half of what OLG was going to do it for. Let's see. The
What-
greenhouse is out
sorry,
for
let me-
bids.
Yeah, let me
Sorry.
catch one. Back to the ag,
Okay.
Cascade Community Ag Project. That's through your school funds, right?
That is. Hey, that,
But I mean, the school is the funding source for that. We're not borrowing.
Grants going to.
that is
Yeah,
correct.
that-
I just want to make sure I clarify because.
Yeah, and I'll
think-
make sure I don't trip
Yeah.
you up.
Yeah, because the 4.7 is separate grant here in technical education. It's called Innovative School Model Grant through the governor's office. It is not part,
Right, but the school system is applying for that grant.
that is correct. And that's what those,
So,
Okay. The softball dugouts are completed at community. Want to thank Cam Farrell for the work he put in for that. We are continually to look for sites for new schools, future schools. And Klein Sweeney, we have contracted with them on their master plan for community. That was originally about 220,000. They have agreed to 150,000, and in that number, they have also included site survey, topo, geotech, and engineering concept drawings, which was going to be an additional 45,000. County projects, we're working on the surplus building, juvenile facility we've already discussed. Concrete demo and the EMS building contracts will be awarded next Tuesday. We have a budget of 48,000 to measure those bid against. Health Department bids were given out and signed last week by Robert and I. That work will begin on 5/1/24 and completed 6/30/24, which is a requirement of the grant. And everything they needed done, plus a few more items, we were able to cover inside the $150,000 grant, so there will be no expense.
questions? Anything that we left out? You got a lot on your plate down there. That's exciting. Any other questions for Jeff? All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it. I believe next is our monthly reports.
You got a copy of your financial report. Everything is pretty much on track. We're still going to have a few amendments before the year end. But if you look at page 2, page 1, you'll see the revenues for the county. We've collected 90% of the budget so far. Page 3 shows the expenditures. We've expended 66% of the budget. And that's normal because most of our revenues are property taxes and equally over 12. Everything else is pretty much, like I said, on track. Page 5 is Highway Department. You can see his revenues almost match the expenditures. It's good. The schools, the same thing. They have 62% of their budget collected, and they've collected 81%, expended 62%. Any questions about that? Not, I'll move on to the other part. You have an analysis of property taxes and tax collections. Property taxes are $223,000 less than the same time last year. We still got 3 months to collect. The prior year taxes are $29,000 ahead of the same time last year. Page 2 is clerk and master collections, $22,000 less than the same time last year. Part of that is because the trustee collected it before it was turned over. Sales tax is $65,000 ahead of the same time. That's the tax collection report. And the third part is the analysis of expenditures. Anything in red is over the average, and that's not necessarily unusual, but if it's over 100%, And that means we're gonna be doing a budget amendment, part of our year. That's my report.
All right. Questions regarding those standard reports we see? All right. Hearing none, we're moving on to other reports. EMS.
All right, so last week I was able to spend in DC. We were advocating for bills that increase funding for local EMS department. Hopefully, a lot of those go through. We had our youth academy graduation. Those are the high school age kids that graduated the week before last week. And, then this week, we've received a few phone calls from other services from other counties asking us if we would train their students if they paid us because our program's so successful. All good news. A couple of weeks.
You have good when you're being benchmarked by somebody else.
That's right. And you guys have my reports. If anybody has any questions,
Are you full staff
we are fully staffed.
We don't talk.
No
Might
jinx.
change tonight. I don't know.
today?
Speaks volumes to all the things they're trying to do. It's not a one item approach, and they've worked on it for years. And we all thought we were drowning there at one point, but
We
we've
did.
kind of come back up. And I hope that we can continue to tread water. Any other? Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ted.
All right, so we need a motion to approve reports or after quarterly. Okay, sorry,
Okay,
quarterly.
you've got your quarterly report. It's the same information that was in the monthly report. It's just summarized by quarter. This one does need to go to.
Is there questions? All right. Now, we're ready to, am I missing anything? Ready for it? Okay, so monthly reports, we need a motion to approve those. And then
Move
we-
to approve.
All right. Second, Linda, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, and the quarterly reports, we need a motion to send them to the commission. Scott, motion?
Second.
Janice, second. All in favor? Any opposed? Next item is resolution to consider issuing a capital outlay note in the amount not to exceed 10.4 million for county and school projects.
And we have John Werner here, and he can address this a little bit. If questions about it. He's our financial consultant.
Wow, just like that, he showed up.
Yes, sir.
And I'll remind you guys, we've been using him at least since I've been here, and not because of me, since I've been here, he's been engaged with us. He's the one that has given us good advice in restructuring some debt, and
Yes.
we refinanced and saved millions early on
correct.
before the great reset after COVID. And so we're counting on you to give us some good advice here regarding this this opportunity to actually get these projects funded.
Well, thank you again for the opportunity to do this for the county. The resolution you have before you is for the county to embark on a $10.4 million capital outlay note. We will be doing that on behalf of the county as an RFP. Probably will be engaged. It'll be a 3-year amortization schedule. We will probably ask for both a callable and a non-callable feature on this. Draw it down all at one time so that you can go ahead and start having all the money available to you. And after speaking with Mr. Sweeney, the chances of having this all spent within 12 to 18 months is very, very high. But more importantly is with this money, spending it down that quickly, you might also have an opportunity to also invest some additional, all these money into investment proceeds and make some additional interest income, which will help, of course, reduce your debt service costs to pay this out, which is a good thing. It's positive arbitrage. It's not to exceed $10.4 million. As I mentioned, we're probably going out and probably talk to about 20, 30 banks about this, since it's going to be a negotiated sale. And then once we get all the numbers in and we see what looks the best, then we'll start talking to them and start trying to fine tune a little bit, making it a little bit better, making the edges a little bit smoother. And then we'll present it to the county commission. If the commission, or if this board will give me the permission, we would like to go ahead and start the RFP process. because there's so much time between now and the actual formal county commission meeting, understanding that when we get our numbers back, everything's going to be subject to Robert's approval, county commission's approval of the resolution, and then finally the state approving issuing the capital outlay note as required by Tennessee Code Annotated. So there'll be a lot of conditions in it, but we'd like to go ahead and start the work now and start getting things done so that we can get the money into your capital projects fund sooner rather than later. We can turn Mr. Sweeney and his people loose on it.
I'm glad you reminded us that even though our financial team works through and plans out borrowing and paying back and debt ratios, of course, we have you as an expert for Bedford, but in addition to that, the state also takes a look at these things before
It's
they're
required. Yes,
and
sir.
so therefore, there's three different disciplines, you might say, that are looking at the activities we're asking to embark on. So it's not just a decision the mayor makes or the finance director or really just this committee. It's much bigger than that. And so all the stars have to line up for this thing to get endorsed by the state. And once that happens, then that suggests that we're in good position to meet our obligation.
I don't foresee any problem with the state as well run as the county is from a financial standpoint and every aspect. I don't foresee that being a problem whatsoever. Now it's just a matter of beating up the banks and getting the best rate for the county.
Right. So the big things when you say best rates from the bank would be interest rates and
Yes, sir.
then
Terms.
terms.
That's correct. That's correct.
And whenever you go out and you get multiples competing for it, it's just like when we bid for projects, the more people that are competing, the better chance that we have to get the very best rate.
Well, the amortization schedule that we set out, principle that we have in the RFP, they can easily back into that by doing some real quick math. We put in 4% because we want them to be very aggressive. So we're hoping that if we start with a low interest rate, normally we'd put in 5%, right? But if we stick in 4, maybe they think, ooh, maybe they expect even better than that, which we do. But we'll find out once we get the, don't have any guarantees for that. It all depends on what we see when we get back, but hopefully that will be true. No, sir, that's exactly correct. They will be tax exempt, but they will not be bank qualified. And that's a great question, John. When Robert
It's
and I
not
were first,
bonds, it's a note.
it's actually a note, but it's such a big number. But because of the way it's structured and what we're trying to get accomplished, we can do this underneath the Title IX, Section 21 of Tennessee Code Annotated for capital outlay. But these will be not bank qualified, and that really doesn't mean much to everyone here, other than all things being equal, bank qualified gets you a little bit lesser of a rate. But because of the size of this and the banks that are going to be participating in this, I'm sorry, there'll be plenty of banks will be participating, but the ones that we expect to get the best results, bank qualified is not consequential for them giving us a bid. So in that particular case, we're just going to go ahead and just do it non-BQ.
When you talk about 12 and 18 months, would you explain what you meant?
Oh yeah, yes, okay. When we back in the 80s, local governments would borrow money, and they would borrow it at 5. They would turn around and they would go invest it at 12. They would make all this positive return on their investing by borrowing money. Well, that's arbitrage, and that worked well until it became illegal.
That point.
Yeah, at some point, all of a sudden the federal government said, "Hey, we don't want to do this anymore." So what happens is now just recently, federal law has changed, and they've changed it just a little bit, where arbitrage is legal, but within very certain tight restrictions, and meaning that when they borrow the money, it has to go into a specific construction project, and that money has to be spent within a 24-month window. And you have very specific times or milestones to hit within that, like 20% for the first 6 months, 45% in the next 12 months, 75% in 18 months, and all of it has to be spent within 24 months. Well, of course, anytime you borrow money for a public project, federal law says you have to have at least the intention to do it within 36 months. So they've really squeezed this. But if you're borrowing at 4, and if we can work with the county and direct them in where they might be able to get some investments at 5, well, that extra 100 basis points of positive return goes to the county and you can keep that. Now, let's suppose our guesstimates are wrong and we can't get all of our money spent within that 20. The worst thing that's going to happen is we'll have to do a rebate calculation, and those excess earnings that are above this ARB yield, I don't even want to talk about that back. Anything above that ARB yield that generates the excess returns, you just have to refund it back to the federal government. No one goes to jail. No one loses their firstborn, and and there's not any bad press to it. It's just an accounting entry at the end.
So, Mayor, the expediency of all this now, from the time we get the money to doing, lends even more so to having somebody like Jeff on site.
And all
So
the
we
due
can move on.
diligence and projects, right, are already, we've been in the due diligence phase of a lot of these projects getting to this point because we, one, weren't sure how much we needed to borrow. We didn't want to borrow what we didn't need to borrow, but we didn't want to come up short like we have in the past. And so
Yeah,
now
that's
the
correct.
time has come, and the projects that we're referring to that not to exceed the 10.4 is the Wing at Liberty, the Judicial Center,
Juvenile.
Juvenile. What did I say? Judicial. Yeah, I've
Yes,
already
sir.
done that one. Let's don't do it
That's
again.
okay.
Yeah.
Leave,
Uh,
don't do it again.
Surplus building. Yeah. The public safety training range, and then the natural resources and conservative services, that NRCS, to add on to that building. All those together come out to not exceed the 10.4. 3 of those projects would be physically located at the Justice Center on that complex. That would be the juvenile facility, the surplus building, and the public safety training range would physically be there. Liberty is where Liberty's at. That project's been long coming and everybody's excited. We definitely don't want to pause on that. And then the add-on to the NRCS is we actually get rent back from them regarding this. And this is a small expenditure to give them the functional space they need for this new position that they've gotten through a grant. So does everybody understand what the projects are?
Yeah, the projects have been bid for Liberty, but the others have not. It's a good estimate that we've got in there. So it could vary a little bit, but we worked with Jeff on that. I feel like it's a good estimate.
But still, it
based on-
wouldn't exceed 10.
Right.
So
And then will this resolution, it's typed up and everything, go to the commission
Yes.
in May?
next commission meeting.
Next
yes.
commission meeting. And the resolution that you have in your packet, I do want to amend the language of what a project is, because it's not as broad as what I'm looking at this spreadsheet here. So I want to go back and that's the only adjustment that you'll see between from here and the county commission meeting next month. Just a definition of
Right.
projects.
So you can send it with the amendment, and we need to authorize him to do the RFP
Yes.
process while we're understanding that we're not committed.
Subject
The
to.
right, subject to. Thank you.
Yes,
for
sir. That
subject
is
to.
correct.
It'll be 2 different.
Should there be 2 different motions? Would you feel better about that?
That would be fine. Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah. So we need a motion then to put the resolution forward, asking the commission to support the not to exceed 10.4 million for the projects that I laid out.
I just got a quick question. Juvenile center, I know it's narrowed down and narrowed down. I just want to make sure before we make the move, it is set up for the future. It's not going to be something in 2 years. It's going to be overgrown and look at right there. I just want to make sure.
Incorporated inside the structure. So this doorway would be added 3 more. Would come out. That would get us up to about 20 kids with belly and then. Right now, we're set up for.
Other body.
That's why we just put it part of the record. Is everybody understand? Not building something for it, just set up for right now and it's built. And a year from now, we'll get too many.
Right, and then
Built
We
for the
felt
future.
this was a 50.
Yeah,
right. And then we're designed for a kitchen upgrade. At what point would be appropriate?
Right.
Again.
And we got the room plan.
Right.
at
Yeah,
budget.
yeah. The space is there. So everybody on this panel understands what we're asking for, we need a motion to send the resolution as it will be amended
As amended.
to the commission requesting that they grant the finance team be able to borrow the funds.
Make that motion.
All right, so we have motion second. We're open for discussion, really more specific.
Now, this payback on this note not be coming from tax dollars, be coming from interest that we've already collected, as well as sales tax. Sales tax is providing Liberty School part, interest is providing for the county. I just want to make that clear. It's in our fund balance, and we've
So no
collected for a
impact
couple
on the
years.
property tax, new burden on property tax related to this, but it will address really the bulk of the big projects that were left hanging. That a lot of these projects, speaking about juvenile, again, goes back before I was even the mayor. So a lot of these things, this group and this county commission that we have today has really dug in and made some tough decisions to invest in the future. And this is going to get us really close to catching us up. It's not the future, but it will absolutely get us where we need to be for now. So the motion is second on the floor to send the resolution as will be amended to the commission considering that. So, all right, all in favor? Is there anybody opposed to that? All right, and then now we need a motion to authorize you and your team
Start
to
the RFP
process. So you have subject to the commission ultimately
Motion to
approving
approve.
the resolution.
Second.
Janice with the second. All right, is there other discussion or clarification on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? All right,
Thank you, Mayor.
thank you for that.
everybody.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next item is
Mayor,
number-
before you go back onto something else, you said history-wise, we started talking about the juvenile center before Jeff came on the commission long ago, when we knew we were gonna have to do the jail because it all was tied together. But, we just at that time wanted to get the judicial center past us, and then
the
then
state
deal
was
with the other.
demanding action
Yes.
in that category at the time.
So it's been a long time talking about everything.
And then Liberty School, all the way back when I was on the school board, and I'm sure before me, has been an area that has been identified, recognized as needing attention, but there was so much other going on and really no paths for these investments at the time. But we're now finally, you're really going to be in a good position, I think, and tell me yes or no, to really be resetting y'all's master plan, because you will have addressed quite a few of the big things that
She
have
sent us one.
been around our neck for a while.
Eddie,
Appreciate you sending that master plan to us.
Ready? Good. Now, I'm sorry, here we go. Resolution for litter and trash collection grant. Now, is that an annual thing we do?
That's an annual.
So that document's in your packet. So that needs to go to the commission for approval. So do you make the motion?
Move to approve.
All right, there you go. And, all right, and somebody seconding that? All right, all right. Any other discussion or comment? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, and then next we got right-of-way and road cut permit for the highway.
I've come up with a road cut permitting system, for the county department. We've run into numerous different scenarios and things that we have with utilities and cutting the roads and fixing them back, like, all kinds of big projects going, notified until after the event started on the construction. We have had way funds to fix the roads public. So what we want to do, we're basically county around us that doesn't have road cut permit from. What we're doing, anytime, any utilities, any kind of utilities working inside the county right away, highway department, road, has to notify to the highway department. They would have to pay a fee, post a bond, yearly bond, different water, sewer, everything. Post that bond. Make sure, put that good process for us to do that. Just do this body and go. think it's gonna be a special thing for the help save us highway department. Missing a lot. Big things, but we never put back in place. But every single utility or anything that's going on inside the right of way, if they're digging roadway, right of way, they have to notify them. They could approve it, start and approve it after. For individuals,
needed.
they will have to post a road cut permit fee. What we're proposing is $1,000. Once they get it completed and done, and I sign off on it, they get $100 of that. Highway department keeps $100.
Now, that's if it's not the utilities or if it is the utility.
That is, if the utilities required citizens to cut across the road to bring water to them, a lot of utilities, they don't do that themselves. They require the
Oh, I got you.
individuals to do that, have to notify.
If the utility does the work, then they're not part of this $1,000.
No, they're not part of the $1,000. What I got in permit from utilities, like ACUB, Devil Power, or AT&T, or Charter, or all the utilities that are working in the area, they will have to post a yearly bond with the county highway department. Covered in budget. So we're meeting with all them, depending on what they did or project they forward. It will be a bond that gets used every year, and it go out and do it, and they can't get somebody to fix it. That's me to go out and help them with it. We will pull from that bond.
Right.
There is no cost coming.
Gotcha. So we need a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second. Any other clarification questions? To go to the commission. for ultimate approval. All right, all in favor?
Uh-huh.
Any opposed? Right, next is EMS write-offs. They're in the house. I assume these are the ones that are exhausted and there's no other. And this will allow audit to be satisfied that you adjust the record. Right, not collectible and so we need
Move to approve.
send them to the commission. All right, second? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Surplus property for Board of Education. It's in your packet. Looks like it's several things.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? All right. To the commission, yeah, obviously these are, surplus property highways.
Move to approve.
All right, second. To the commission, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, and, other business, did I miss anything? All right, is there any announcements? And I have, also copies of Dr. Garrett's master plan that I had to, for you guys if you didn't get it.
I won't.
I'm sorry that I had them to hand out and
This is what I was thinking, Dr. Garrett.
yeah. Yeah, well, I appreciate you thinking or knowing I had
I
it.
bugged her at that
All right.
last.
So is there any announcements? All right. And again,
Need one?
but before we adjourn, I want to just clarify one more time. This bond or this note, this capital outlay note would be no impact to the property tax rate. These were based on the planning, the strategy, and the funds that have been either collected through excess in interest or that we had set aside through our capital improvement plan and sales tax to manage knowing these projects were coming. So we're excited to make sure that everybody understands that. Did you want to say something? Yeah, because it's not on the agenda unless is it financial?
We can take it, we just can't act.
Bring it up. All right.
All right, what I have here is, claims for veterans. Money that gone into this county.
We'll share. We'll share.
That's all right. Yeah, you can circulate it.
Anyway, as you can see, it's in less than the millions. That's the amount of money that the veterans bring in to this community. Since 2020, we brought in, as you can see, 225,228, 556,000, and 887,000. Make a total that the veteran community of this county brings in $5 million a year. It doesn't change unless they all pass away. And a lot of them,
Cumulatively. Yeah. Yeah, they've had a $5 million impact.
yes.
Yeah, local. And we're,
Okay,
Tim.
so, but what
Oh, yeah.
the intent of my little discussion here is that the amount of driving hours required by drivers and the hours required by the veteran service officers has increased tremendously. I got the years previous, we can look at those, the numbers have doubled. And I don't see them to go up any higher because PACT Act is at its peak right now. But what I do see is that it continues about the same number. So I'd like to keep that in mind, and then I'd like to set up a one-on-one with you.
right. Yeah, we need to, yes, we'll, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We may have to have an amendment before it's over in the current year. And then our budget for next year will reflect, those concerns.
But I thank council for its time here. Appreciate it.
All right. Any other, did I miss anything else? Okay, are we ready to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.